Hello, students. Today we are going to discuss the topic management by objective of BCom. Every organization is started with some purpose or objectives, and all the efforts are made to achieve those objectives. Therefore, we can say that MBO is one of the technique which helps in the achievement of the organizational goals. The concept of MBO was given by Peter Drucker in 1954, and according to Peter Drucker, MBO is a basis for measuring the performance of the managers in an organization. MBO is basically a means of integrating individuals with the organization, and it is also known as management by results and goal management. MBO is a philosophy of managing in many enterprises. Therefore, we can say that MBO is a system where superior and subordinate identify the objectives in such a way that their organizational and individual objectives are achieved and the resources are optimally and efficiently utilized. Therefore, we can say that MBO is a strategic approach where the top level management will convey the objectives to the various members of the organization in such a way that overall objectives are achieved. In MBO, basically, individuals and the organizational employees, managers will set the objectives in such a way that the individual and organizational objectives are achieved, and those objectives will become the basis of measuring the performance of the various employees. In MBO, the periodic review of the objectives is there by the superior and the subordinates. According to Coons O'Donnell, MBO is a comprehensive technique where key managerial activities are integrated in such a manner that all the organizational and individual objectives are achieved in an efficient and effective way. Next topic is features of MBO. MBO is a philosophy. MBO is not merely a technique but a philosophy of management, because a technique is applicable only in specified areas, but a philosophy will guide and influence every aspect of the management. Second is objectives decided collectively. In MBO, various objectives of individual and organization are collectively decided by the superiors and subordinates, and those objectives will become the targets which are to be achieved by various persons in the organization. Next is basis for measuring performance. The corporate, departmental, and individual objectives are used as a yardstick to measure the performance, and there will be a comparison of the targets and actual results, which will help the manager to judge the performance of the subordinates, and top level will also judge the performance of the managers according to the targets set. Next is regular review of performance. MBO will provide the regular review of the performance as it emphasizes initiative and active role by the managers because they are responsible for achieving those objectives. Next is guidelines for setting up system. MBO will provide the guidelines for appropriate system and procedures, as there will be proper degree of delegation of authority, fixation of responsibility, and allocation of resources. All these will be decided according to the various objectives of the individual. Next is matching of objectives and resources. The objectives will be set on the basis of the availability of resources, so that there is no problem of the resource availability and the objectives achievability. Basically, we will set the objectives in such a way that appropriate resources are available. Next is more freedom to subordinates. MBO system will set the objectives in such a way that subordinates also participate in those objectives, and they are given full freedom in implementation of those objectives. Next is integration of objectives. Integration basically means the combination or combining the various objectives of the organization. The objectives of the organization, department, and individuals are integrated. Firstly, we will set the organizational objectives, then objectives of the various department will be set in integrity with the Organizational objectives and individual objectives will be set on the basis of departmental objectives. Therefore, therefore, it will integrate the various objectives and helps in achieving the organizational objectives. Next topic is objectives of MBO. First point is measuring the performance. The main objective of setting objectives is to measure the performance of the persons. Since the objectives are set with the participation of the persons, they know that their evaluation will be done on the basis of their actual performance against the given objectives only, which will help in judging the performance of different persons. Second is increasing growth of subordinates. When goals are given to the employees, they will try to achieve them by improving their performance. When the employees will achieve their goals, it will create a confidence and increase their growth also. The next is encouraging efficiency. MBO differentiate between the efficient and the inefficient persons, because efficient persons knows that in MBO their performance will come to the notice of management. When the performance is not separately counted, they will not perform very well. Therefore, in MBO, the efficient persons will feel encouraged to improve their performance, since it will be recorded against their name only. Next is relating individual performance to organizational goals. In MBO, the individual performance of different persons will be related to the organizational goals only, as the organizational goals will be set firstly and then individual goals will be determined so that the overall organizational goals are achieved. Next is basis for deciding salary and promotion. The performance of individuals at work will be the best criteria for deciding the salaries and the promotion for the various employees. The annual pay rises and incentives to be given to the employees can be calculated easily on the basis of their performance evaluation. Next is improving communication among the superiors and subordinates. MBO is a technique which will help in improving the communication among the superior and subordinates, as objectives are set both by the superior and subordinates after the proper discussions. Last is device of organizational control. MBO will help in assessing the organizational performance against the given objectives, which will tell the management whether the objectives are achieved or not, and the management will be able to take the quick actions if the deviations are there. Therefore, remedial steps will be taken in removing all the deficiencies in the performance. Therefore, we can say that MBO is a device for the organizational control also. Next topic is process of MBO. The setting of objectives of the MBO requires the following steps. Generally, there are 5 steps in setting the process of MBO. First step is setting objectives at the top. In MBO, the top level will set the organizational goals and objective. In MBO, we will determine the purpose or the mission of the organization. Generally, this exercise will be undertaken by the top level. The mission of the organization will be converted into goals for a given period. The goals may be set for a quarter period, half year period, a year period, 5 years, or more. Generally, objectives are set in such a way that they coincide with the completion of a project or with an annual budget. Some goals are set for a short period and some goals are set for the longer period. Second point is clarifying organizational roles. Organizational roles, if not clearly defined, then the organizational objectives cannot be achieved. Therefore, there should be clear cut assignment of tasks and fixation of responsibilities. Let us take an example that if an organization wants to undertake the development of a new project, it may be the responsibility of research, production, and marketing managers. We will put all these activities under the overall command of a particular person, say a product manager. Therefore, we can say that there is proper clear cut assignment of task and fixation of responsibility to the concerned managers. Next is setting subordinate objectives. The subordinate managers should be informed of the journal objectives, planning assumptions, and strategies of the company. The superior will discuss all these with the subordinates so that they can accomplish all the organizational and individual objectives within the time provided and the resources availability. The subordinates participate in such a discussion so that they complete the overall objectives within the period provided to them. The goals are set in such a way they are practicable to achieve, realistic, and within the time frame they can be achieved. If the subordinates will participate in the discussion, they will contribute maximum to the organizational goals and improve their performance also. Next is periodic review. The goals or objectives should be periodically reviewed so that we can evaluate the performance. The superiors and the subordinates will have the regular meetings so that they can review the progress of the objectives. If the progress is not as per the plans, then they can take the remedial measures so that they can be removed within a specified period of time. These meetings will make the subordinates conscious that their progress will be regularly reviewed by the managers, and they know that if the performance is not as per the schedule, then punishments will be given to them. Next is assessing the final performance. At the end of a specified period, the performance of individuals and departments is assessed. If the performance is as per the plans or the standards, then all those are who are involved in the completion of project will be complimented. In case the objectives are not reached, the reasons of the low performance will be identified. The workers will be provided additional training and targets will be given to them so that they can improve their performance in the future also. Basically, it will help in determining the various deviations in the performance, and all the remedial measures will be taken so that goals are reached in time in the near future. Next topic is benefits of management by objective. First point is better management. Definitely, MBO will result in improved and better managing. Better managing requires that goals are set for each and every activity and individuals, and it will ensure that those goals are achieved. MBO will not only help in setting the objectives but also ensures proper balancing of objectives and resources. Second is clarifying organizational. MBO help in clarifying organizational roles and structures in such a way that proper assignment of task, responsibility, and authority is there. Next is encouraging personal commitment. The main benefit of MBO is that it will encourage the personnel or the employees to commit themselves for the achievement of the specified objectives. Next is developing control. MBO will provide a mechanism to devise the control system. The need for setting controls is the setting of standards and then calculating the deviations if there any. Next is improves communication. There is a proper interaction between superior and subordinate while deciding about the objectives. Subordinate can talk to the superior whenever there is a need for any guidance or any clarification. Last is improves efficiency. MBO will help in improving the efficiency of the workers. Definitely, workers will associate their objectives and they will try to set only those objectives that they can achieve in a within or specified time. Last topic is weakness of management by objective. First point is failure to teach MBO philosophy. The success of MBO will depend upon its proper understanding by the managers. When managers are clear about this concept, only then they can explain to the subordinates that how MBO works, why it is being done. If managers are not clear about their concept of MBO, then MBO cannot be successful in an organization. Next, failure to give guidelines for goal setters. If the goal setters are not given proper guidelines for deciding their objectives, then MBO cannot be successful in an organization. Third, difficulty in setting the goals. The main emphasis in MBO technique is on setting objectives. The setting of objectives is not a simple thing, it requires a lot of information and time for arriving at the conclusions. If the objectives are wrong, then MBO may prove liability for the business. Fourth, emphasizes on short-term objectives. In MBO program, there is a tendency to set short-term objectives. Managers are inclined to set goals for a year or less, and they give undue advantage or importance to the short-term goals at the cost of the long-term goals. Therefore, proper emphasis should be given to both short term and long term objectives. Last point is danger of inflexibility. There is a tendency to restrict to the objectives even if there is a need for modification. It will be very foolish to strive for those objectives which have become outdated or obsolete due to revised corporate objectives or the modified plans. Therefore, we can conclude that MBO is a system where superior and subordinate identify the objectives, and all their efforts will be made to achieve those individual and organizational objectives in such a way that resources are efficiently and effectively used, and they know that their mutually agreed objectives will become the basis of their performance evaluation. Thank you.